Morning, everyone. Today I was going to read The Snail and the Whale by Julie Donaldson. She is the writer of The Gruffalo and Superworm, some other pretty funny books. These books are really good rhyming. This is the tale of a tiny snail and a great big gray-blue humpback whale. This is the rock as black as soot, and this is the snail with an itchy foot. The sea snail slithered all over the rock and gazed at the sea and the ships and the dock, and as she gazed, she sniffed and sighed. "The sea is deep, the world is wide. How I long to sail," said the tiny snail. These are the other snails in the flock, who all stuck tight to the smooth black rock and said to the snail with the itchy foot, "Be quiet, don't wiggle, sit still, stay put." But the tiny sea snail sniffed and sighed and then cried, "I've got it, I'll hitch a ride." This is the trail of the tiny snail, a slivery trail that looped and curled and said, "Ride wanted around the world." The little snail wrote that with its slime trail. This is the whale who came one night when the tides were high and the stars were bright, a humpback whale immensely long, who sang to the snail a wonderful song of shimmering ice and coral caves and shooting stars and enormous waves. And this is the tale of the humpback whale. He held it out of the starlight sea and said to the snail, "Come sail with me." And the little snail's gonna hitch a ride. This is the sea so wild and free that carried the whale and the snail on his tail to towering icebergs and far-off lands. You get to see penguins and icebergs with fiery mountains and golden sands. And I get to see volcanoes. These are the waves that arched and crashed, that foamed and frolicked and sprayed and splashed the tiny sea snail on the tail of a whale. These are the caves beneath the waves where colorful fish with feathery fins and sharks with hideous toothy grins swam past the whale and the snail and tail. This is the sky, so vast and high, sometimes sunny and blue and warm, and sometimes filled with a thunderstorm, with zigzagging lightning flashing and frightening the tiny snail on the tail of the whale. And she gazed at the sky, the sea and the land, the waves and the caves and the golden sand. She gazed and gazed, amazed by it all. And she said to the whale, "I feel so small." Where do you think they are now? I would guess maybe Alaska with the big brown bears. But then came a day when the whale lost its way. These are the speedboats running a race, zigging and zooming all over the place, upsetting the whale with their ear-splitting roar, making him swim too close to shore. No. This is the tide slipping away. It looks like he's getting himself beached. And this is the whale lying beached in the bay. "Quick, off the sand, back to sea!" cried the snail. "I can't move on land, I'm too big," moaned the whale. The snail felt helpless and terribly small. And then, "I've got it," she cried, and she started to crawl. "I must not fail," said the tiny snail. Oh, there's a giant whale stuck on the shore. This is the bell on the school in the bay, ringing the children in for their play. This is the teacher holding her chalk, telling the class, "Sit straight, don't talk." This is the board as black as soot. And this is the snail with the itchy foot. A snail, a snail. The teacher turns pale. Look, says the children, it's leaving a trail. This is the trail of the tiny snail. A slivery trail that says, save the whale. These are the children running from school, fetching the firemen, digging a pool, squirting and spraying to keep the whale cool. This is the tide coming into the bay. And these are the villagers shouting, hooray, as the whale and the snail travel safely away. Today they help save the whale. Back to the dock and the flock on the rock, who said, how time's flown, and haven't you grown? Oh, back to the snail's home. And the whale and the snail told their wonderful tale of shimmering ice and coral caves and shooting stars and enormous waves, and of how the snail, so small and frail, with her looping, curling, silvery trail, saved the life of a humpback whale. And then the humpback whale held out his tail, and on crawled snail after snail after snail. Oh, they all want to go on an adventure now. And they sang to the sea as they all set sail on the tail of a gray-blue humpback whale. There they go. The end. I hope you like that book. Bye.